Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 91. I'm Adam.
I'm Brian.
I'm Travis. As usual, before we get into our game of the week this week, we want to invite you over to our website, meeplesonmeeples.com, as well as all of our social media sites, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I think we're even on Pinterest for some weird reason. Go onto those sites, follow us, especially on YouTube, subscribe, and you'll see all the videos for all the reviews we've been doing.
This week's game of the week is Stockpile, a stock trading game for 2 to 5 players. And what you have in the center of the table is your board here with 6 different stocks. You have the Cosmic Computers, Bottom Line Bank, Leading Laboratories. You see them going down. They reach a different color. Here's their score tracker. They all start on the darkened circle. So on this side of the board, they start at 5. They're each worth 5,000 at the beginning of the game. You have a red X up here that counts down your rounds. In a 3-player game, you play 7 rounds. A 2- and 4-player game, you play 6 rounds. In a 5-player game, you play 5 rounds. Each player is going to have a player board. This is where you place your stocks as you buy them. Everyone starts off with one random stock. So let's say that I got the Stanford Steel here. I would put that face down in my stock portfolio, and I have a meeple for bidding. What happens is in each round, you are given 2 cards. And there's different types of cards. There are the stock cards that show the different stocks, and they match up with the name and the color on the board. So there's 6 different types of stocks. You might get a boom or a bust card. Boom lets you raise any stock to. Bust lets you lower any stock to of your choice. And then finally, you can get trading fees in $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000 denominations. So on your turn, you are given 2 of these. Nobody else knows what you have. You have to then place them next to one of these calculators. You have to place one face up and one face down. There's already going to be one dealt face up that everybody can see to start them off, and you have a pile per player. So let's say this is a 2-player game. You might have that to start with. And then player 1 gets to look at their 2 cards, and they have to put one face up, one face down. They can be in the same pile or different piles. It's totally up to you. So I might say I'm going to put this as my face down. So there secretly is a yellow stock there, and this one is going to have to be my face up then. There's a green stock there. Every player is going to do that, so the next player might go boom, boom. And when everybody has played that, you then move on to bidding for the piles that are available, looking at what you may want and what you think the other person wants. You put your meeple on any number. They go 1, 3, 6, but that's the bidding. If you want something that somebody else wants, you have to outbid them. So if blue came along and put theirs on the 3, I'm removed. Everybody gets a chance to bid. I can come back and outbid him again if I want. I go to the 6. Heck, I can jump all the way up to the 10 if I want. If you get bumped and everybody else is placed, then you can go to one of the others and take it for 0. That's the only time you can take something for free. In which case, though, it still won't be free because it's the $1,000 trading fee. After bidding, you have to pay the amount you bid. You take your hand. You may have to pay an additional fee. And then I take these and I put them on my board like before in my stock portfolio. Afterwards, secret information is revealed. At the beginning of each round, every player is also given a little bit of information. You're given one stock randomly, that's face down, nobody else sees, and you're going to see if it's going to go up or down. They sometimes go up 1, 2, 3, or 4, and they also can go down that many. So at the end of the round of the bidding phase, you can play your boom or bust cards. And somebody might be like, I have a boom card, I'm going to make this go up 2. And maybe somebody says, oh, I can bust this one 1, or 2, excuse me. And then you have to decide, looking at the current value in the market and the secret information I know Stanford Steel is going to go down. Maybe if I have some now, I want to sell before it goes down this round. You get the opportunity to sell your stock for the current market value, get your money, and then these come into play. Everybody reveals, oh, Stanford Steel goes down 2. And somebody else might say, oh, I've got so that the Bottom Line Bank goes up 1, etc. The way the score tracker works is if it ever gets up to the point where you see this broken dollar sign, that doubles, and those stocks are now worth 2, and you go back to the stop sign here. If they ever get down to the trash, it is a penny stock. It's trash. It's worth nothing, and everybody who has that type of stock must throw it away. The split stocks are good because they now go over to this other side of your board, and it is now worth 2 stocks. So anytime it pays out double. If you sell it, you can sell it for double. At the end of the game, it counts as double. At the end of the game, you sell all your stocks. Whoever has the most money wins. There's one other thing though. The majority stockholder gets 10,000 bonus for each stock. So if I have more cosmic computers at the end of the game than anybody else, I get an additional 10 grand for that. Whoever has the most green gets an additional 10 grand. You add all of that up, sell your stocks, see who has the most money, and there's your winner. So let's start with our likes and dislikes of Stockpile. What do you think?
I just like the game. Overall, I love the game. I mean, maybe I'm going too broad there, but...
If I was going to kick it off with the component quality, while I don't like mini cards, since it works as the money, it beats the alternative. I hate paper money, so these little cards are nice and they hold up a lot better, I think.
And they're nice. The cards all around are a nice kind of a shiny stock. I mean, they're not the linen cards.
Yeah.
Where they're a little heavier, but you don't necessarily need to sleeve them, and there's a lot of cards, so that'd be a lot of sleeving anyways. As far as the look of the game, I mean, it's a stock game.
It's less boring looking than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
going to be about the stock market. This is probably going to be straight into European style, bland art style, but everything looks right. It makes a thematic sense. You know, you have your calculators on the bottom, you have your stocks, your ledgers, your calendar. Like everything looks like it's a desk that you're currently working at. I mean, even your cards are just a stock portfolio that you're putting
That's
stuff
true,
there.
and you've got the pen and
I mean,
across the top.
The actions that you're taking really feel like you're doing something more important than you actually are. So
Well,
it's kind of
yeah.
nice, you know. You can get more of a feeling of like, oh, it's high stakes, you know. What am I exactly doing with all these kind of things?
And that would lead to another point, is it's really interactive. Like, you
Yes.
really pay attention to who's putting what where. Are they playing mind games? They put that one face down, or are they bluffing to make me think it's a bad
Yeah.
card, but really it's something they secretly want, it's a good card?
Yeah, it's not one of those games where you take your turn and you forget.
Yeah,
you got to
punch out for a little bit.
You got to
So,
pay
no,
attention.
Did he put his face down one first, or did he put his face up one? What did he want me to see first? Like it's the whole mind game kind of thing. Sometimes it
Absolutely.
means nothing. Sometimes it's like, what do you think it's going to be? I'm going to let you play your own mind game.
Well, that's true.
It's got a good play time too. I mean, it's 45 minutes. I
Yeah.
think our first playthrough when we were learning it might have been an hour.
Maybe an hour, and that was
Yeah.
nobody had played it before, so it's always consistently 45 minutes or less. I mean,
Yep.
it's great.
It's got the double-sided board. The one face up now is kind of the beginner board. You flip it over, it's got a more advanced game on the backside where the stocks are worth different amounts. So that's kind of a nice feature. It's not two games in one, but two versions of the game
Yep.
all on one
A
board.
little more to think about.
A lot of replay that comes with that.
Oh yeah.
On top of the deck that we haven't really talked about, where you can get you're an individual, I guess, stock market player
Yeah.
that gives you a special player power to individualize the gameplay further. So I mean, the replay value is just super high in this one.
And the only thing you'll see, and maybe you can see it on the video too, is some of the cardboard is starting to warp, which is typical in a game. But
It's also 96% humidity
Humidity
right now
yeah.
today. So that might have just happened tonight.
But all around great, and I would even say another like is as far as the rules go, they're clearly written. I don't think we had to go back to the rule book much after the first couple of games.
In fact, we hadn't played this in several months, before tonight, and it came back to us like that.
Yeah.
We pretty much remembered everything as soon as we got the parts out. It was that simple.
Really clear language, really clear iconography. You know, it's all very easy to see. I mean, the businesses and the plus and minus stocking. It's just so intuitive. When you flip over your cards, you can immediately look at the board and be like, okay, where are we at? All right. I mean, it feels
Yeah, the
like you're
graphic
playing
design is clean.
Oh,
like,
it's
super
beautiful.
clean.
And that's something that it means a lot to me when I play a game, is that you cared. Like, each of the businesses has their own actually well-designed logo. Like, you could probably see that out in the world. Granted, you're never going to hear Epic Electric Company.
Well,
but,
no. Oh, that alliteration, yeah.
It is very fun that they alliterated every one of them to keep everybody...
We're real high on
Involved.
games. Anybody have any dislikes?
Is there anything that's going to take this down a notch?
Let's get critical. Real critical.
I'm going to go back. I mentioned it as a like because I hate paper money, but I hate little cards too. I wish there's got to be a different alternative.
Rather
for
than
cash.
mini cards.
Yeah, the mini shiny cards as cash. The piles are always slipping all over the place. They're really slick.
Yeah, a nice linen finish would kind of help that a little bit.
True.
But
And
it would also probably increase the cost of the game by $5. So
Well, that's true too.
And a little bit of the
Keep it
game is
legit.
kind of a little bit of luck to it on how the stocks are going to go.
yeah,
So
you can't actively bet on it, but you have a little bit of information, so you're kind of involved in it. But
Yeah.
also, if someone strikes it rich real early,
That's what I was going to say. You can get a runaway leader.
Stop somebody.
Yep.
I mean, unless you get a good amount of, you have your own little like gotcha cards where you can increase or decrease certain stocks, but they're not going to be enough if someone's taken off to really impact them after they've made a ton of money.
Yeah. You can,
So
you
that's
can end up with
the
a
one
runaway
downside.
leader.
It's not necessarily like steamrolling into it, because you can still actively try and block them or give them the crappy cards or try and pair their bad cards with something that's good for you. So you're spreading out the crap a little bit if something's really tanking. But I think that's the only thing I can see while going in is it's hard to stop somebody who's already in the lead unless you get really lucky yourself.
And I think there's enough luck that you can do that.
Yeah,
you can come back.
Makes it, by luck I don't mean swingy craziness like Cosmic Encounter.
It's just out of your control.
It's just enough to a few surprises where you're like, oh, I totally lucked out. Oh, I can't believe that stock went up when I was, and I'm glad I did sell it last round.
Just an example, like the last game we played, I ended up getting one of the stocks early on, and just out of pure luck, that stock ended up just carrying through the game, kept going up.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that one never hit a bust.
No.
It was always booming, even whether it was a little or a lot. It was always booming. Whereas like the automotive, both the games we played, it was just tanked. Like you never put anything into it because it always just kept finding the busts, and and that would happen. That's kind of another one of those good replayabilities.
Yeah.
The next game you play, it could be all American Automotive, and none of the other ones will get anywhere. But
true,
it's variable, and with any variable game, you're going to have times where it's just like crap. Like, oh, the thing I went in on, I should have gotten out in a little earlier, but it's also a game of the stock market.
Overall, I think a lot of likes for the game.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
downsides, but solid game overall.
Very nitpicky downsides.
Yeah, that's true.
And next up is strategy.
This has worked well for me. I'm not going to say consistently. You can't always count on it because if you're too far behind, it's not enough to catch up. But at the end of the game, when you score, who has the majority of cosmic computers? Who's got the most blue? You get 10,000. The majority holder in green gets 10,000. There have been some games where I've had the majority in like 4 or 5 of the 6 different stocks.
You get a nice payout.
And everybody else is like, oh, maybe I should have diverted. And all of a sudden I get 60,000, this huge windfall at the end.
So, I mean, whereas you'll get compounded points by sticking to one thing and having it, split a whole bunch. I mean, that's good, but you're also getting one endgame 10,000, whereas someone else could get a boon of 30,000, 40,000.
And on those same lines, towards the end of the game again, keep an eye on what stocks people are really ditching through the game.
Yep.
Because at the end, you might be able to sweep in and buy,
and just
one pile.
And just keep it. You'd be like, oh, I could sell this for 2,000. Or if I just keep it, it's an instant 10,000. If I just have the one card that everybody's
just keep an eye on, for instance, in our games, American Automotive kept going down. Like Brian jumped in at the end of one of the games and just bought 2 of them. And you got 10,000 out of it.
10 grand. It was another thing is don't be afraid to bid people up on the bidding. If sometimes they're bluffing and they don't really want it, but if you are positive that they want this pile here and somebody's already they put it at the 1, don't be afraid to jump on the 3. If they want it bad enough, they'll go up to the 6, and at least you can run some of their money out and make them
even if you don't want it. Even if you're like, oh, I'm gonna bid 0 on this one because I know what I put underneath there. I just wanted the person with the most money. I suppose that's a way of equalizing a little bit. They want it. Yeah. Make them pay for it. Granted, that can also bite you in the butt. And then you're like, well, I'm stuck with 20,000. I'm out. And it was a trap.
Yeah, I've found bits of them and they're like, I really didn't want that. And they go down because they get this one for free now or whatever. But
and then they laugh at you and everybody has a good time.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise it's all, as you play the game, just keeping an eye on what everybody else is buying.
Yep.
And that's strategically using the booms and busts. So if you get a boom
I
or
love
something,
those.
Like, say Brian bought it big into Stanford Steel early on, and it split. He's got 10 stock in it. You might want to put a little extra attention on getting some of the busts to bring that back down. So even though he has 10, at the end of the game, maybe it's only worth 2,000 per stock or something.
Yeah. And if you see something, you can massage the one that you're going into. You have a lot of stock, like Epic Electric. I had a bunch in that, split over, both piles. And I'm just like, okay, this can't ever really go down, so I could be splitting some other stuff, but I'm just going to keep this at a nice high level so nobody else can really mess with me. So I at least get some of those end game points, last couple of rounds of it. If you get any of those, it's like, just keeping it up there is sometimes better than trying to bust something else up that you don't have very much of.
Yeah, being able to boom stuff that you've invested in, or if somebody's trying to bust something you invested in, then you can boom it back.
Recoup a little bit.
Those are definitely swingy but really helpful cards to have.
Yeah, and I guess my last strategy would be just strategic selling of the stock throughout, because it's easy to spend, and then end up in a round where you can't afford anything worthwhile. You can't
Or
pay anybody
I've done the other thing where I'm not spending a lot, but I don't want to sell anything because, like, again, one of the strategies that's worked well is I like to have the majority of everything. Well, if you don't sell, eventually you're going to run out of cash, and you're going to get stuck with all the little dumpster fire things that nobody wants.
So you're going to have to eventually, pick the ones that, like, okay, I can get rid of this and get a couple thousand.
Don't be afraid to sell. You're going to have to.
All right, let's talk reviews then. Of course, we use a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 5 right in the middle being, it's an all right game. I may not want to play it all the time, but it's worth a shot. 10 being, go out and buy it right away, greatest game ever made. Probably won't surprise Brian here because I played this the most with him, but I'm pretty high on this game. I'd probably give it a 9. It's just a lot of fun. I think the rules are very solid. The theme comes through very, very, very well. The components are solid, and it plays in a short time. I think you can get a lot of different people to play it, even people that aren't really big into board games. And it's just overall fun to watch, okay, I'm doing real good here. Oh, I got screwed because the stock all of a sudden dropped. Or doing the same thing to somebody else. Like, they're doing really, really well, and then, throwing down the bust on them and watching their stock go down. I mean, there's a lot of fun interaction, not a lot of downtime, plays really fast, really competitive. It's just fun. I mean, I don't know how many times we've played this, but
a lot. When I first bought it, I knew you were going to score high because I think like 4 weekends in a row was, well, we could play Stockpile. He kept suggesting, and I was not going to say no. So
it's great. I mean, the standard game's fun, the advanced game's fun. You got those extra characters you can throw in. I mean, there's just a lot to this game, and I'm still not bored of it.
I'm going to piggyback on that with a 9 as well. This is probably in one of my most played games in my collection. And I played with my son. I played with the gaming group. Everybody seems to enjoy it. I've never had anybody say, "Oh, I did not like." In fact, every time we've played it, it's been, "Let's play again." I've never played just one game of it, and that's pretty telling in my opinion. But since I don't want to repeat everything Adam said. It's a fantastic game. But I'm going to go back to the graphic design. I think that they hit the sweet spot here. If I were to break this out with non-gamers, they're not going to be overwhelmed with like a million plastic figures and all these little fiddly bits and things. They're going to be like, this looks like a really nice, clean, mass market game that you could get at Target or Walmart. And it looks really good. It has a really nice, attractive cover. It's colorful. It's easy to read. There's nothing complicated. There's just the right amount of rules. I get and everything I do is thematic. It makes sense that I have a little bit of insider information. We're bidding, we're buying stocks, we're selling stocks. Buy low, sell high, that kind of thing. It's awesome. It is a really good game. And again, when it comes to nitpicking, like, ooh, the money isn't as good as it could maybe be, fantastic game. I love it.
I'd say I do really like it. I'm probably going to give it about an 8.5, just a little touch below. I had a blast.
Well, I get that out. It'll just be a 9.
I didn't want to repeat 9. I mean, most of it is going to be theme for me. It's going to be like the style of game it is. I mean, it is a realistic financial simulator.
Can I ask one question, not to interrupt? When we went into this, though, what did you say afterwards when we were done playing? Like your thoughts going into versus...
Oh yeah, no, it is beautiful. It is wonderful. Like, I had so much fun playing it overall.
But when we first brought it out, what were you thinking?
Oh, the first thing is like, let's play Stockpile. I looked at the side of the box. I go, oh, this is going to be some crap.
Let's play a Stockpile.
That's what I want you to say.
I quickly got over that. When it was going through everything, like bringing out the boards, like seeing how clean and great the design, the iconography is awesome. Like, everything on the board makes sense. It's got the worker placement areas, but they don't look like they're just tacked on. They look like they're a part of it. I mean, yeah, a meeple punching giant buttons on a keyboard. Okay. One nitpick is that your person's not that big. You could have something else. It could be like a giant finger.
Yeah, just a finger.
But I'm sure Germany would charge you a lot of money to make giant wooden fingers. So,
yes.
But otherwise, it's a solid 8.5. It's easy to play. It doesn't overwhelm you. Like, the idea of the game is more overwhelming than the game itself.
Even explaining it, I remember I've seen people's eyes kind of glaze over. I'm like, I promise. We go around one time, and you will have the game 100%.
And you have it. You're only dealing with a small amount of information. So you have your stocks that you're going to be bidding, you have your insider information, and you have the public stocks information. So, I mean, that's all you're concerned about. What you're more worried about is what everybody else might know about things that are important to you.
Yeah.
And I think it has wonderful tension, it has great interactivity, like your actions are directly impacting someone else. If you see a great stock on there and you're like, oh, someone is going to pay so much for this, you put a fee on that one, then you put a crap stock on it as well, and then you bid on it to make them think you put some great stuff on there, you run them up, and then you immediately hammer them for it, and then you just get zero for like 2 things.
What a good feeling it is to screw over your friends, right?
But yeah, I mean, slightly lower than a 9, but I think that's only because if this were, say, science fiction, it'd probably be an easy 9 for me. It's that's like the biggest one. That's the biggest part of it, is just that idea of it. But other than that, my personal preference on it, it's 8.5. I'm looking to buy it right now, and I've only played it twice. It's awesome.
All right, there's our review of Stockpile. Great game. We highly recommend it. Go out and buy it, and check back next week to see what we've been playing.